Becoming a parent is like getting into a very small boat on the ocean and heading for uncharted waters. Welcome to the Connect Method Parenting Podcast, where correction is out, connection is in, and your kids want to listen to you. I'm Andee Martineau, creator of Connect Method Parenting, here to help you stay calm, confident, and connected no matter what. Welcome back, everybody, to the second installment of my live retelling of my book, Connect Method Parenting. And I thought that it'd be super fun to read it out loud to you with my latest thoughts, ideas, insights on the book. You can jump over to Connect Method Parenting on YouTube. I think you just type that in the search handle. I don't know how you do that exactly, but you go over to YouTube, look for Connect Method Parenting, and you'll see the video version of me. And if you do jump over, or if you are watching this, you will see the rawness of what's happening here. I just went on the most lovely walk with some neighbors, and it's July. It's a little hot. It's not bad. I'm not going to complain. Coming from Arizona, this is nothing, but it was a little warm. So I'm sweaty, and I was going to get all ready. And then I thought, you know what? I'm not. I'm leaving for Montana tomorrow with my daughter, and I want to have this ready so it can go live on the podcast for you while I'm gone. So I got to get it done. I don't have time to get ready. And you know what? Sometimes that's the best way to do it. So I included a quote in part one to kick off part one of the book. Last episode, the kickoff, the intro of this new live retelling of my book, this read aloud time with Andee. I was just giving you the intro, and I read a really beautiful poem. So if you've heard that, go back and listen to that by John Riddell. He's amazing. Now we're going to go into part one. Get ready to go against tradition. Now, the reason I wrote this part of the book was because for a lot of us, we have been swimming in behavioralism so much of our life, if not our entire life, where we think that the way we teach a lesson is by an external stimulus, either a positive one, which we like to call a reward or an incentive or maybe a bribe, or a negative one, which we'll call a consequence, a punishment, taking away a privilege. And this is the framework of behavioralism. This is how it works. So I felt like in order to kick off the book, I needed to start by laying down the framework that we all might be missing, because typically the cultural norms and the way that we live our life become unquestioned after a while. We don't even think about it. We just think, oh, parenting is telling my kids what to do and not to do. It's giving them a consequence. It's teaching them a lesson. Without realizing this is a framework that we have as a society decided is parenting. It is not parenting. One of my favorite developmental psychologists out there is Dr. Gordon Neufeld. You should go look him up. He's amazing. And he says, and I'm paraphrasing here, that parenting isn't about telling your kids what to do and what to not do. It's about creating an environment where they can thrive. And that's what I want to open up for all of us. Of course, we want that. You're not hearing me say that and think, I've never thought of that before. But what I am going to bring to your awareness, hopefully, it's my biggest desire to bring this to your awareness, is that the framework that we've been functioning from, thinking that the way humans are best motivated, the thing that will get them to their fullest potential is this constrictive way of dangling a carrot or threatening a stick, aka punishments and rewards. This external behavior modification model is something we can question. It's something we're swimming in. It's the water we're swimming in, but yet it is not parenting. So let's kick it off, part one, as we dive into behavioralism, what it is, why we might want to question it, and maybe even set it aside. Ralph Waldo Emerson left this beautiful quote. He said, "To leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition, to know that even one life has breathed easier because you have lived, that is to have succeeded." And so when I think of parenting, I think, okay, can I provide an environment where a child can be healthy, can grow and thrive? Can I create something that will make the world better because of how I was able to show up myself as a human and how I was able to help my child ultimately fulfill their potential and show up in the world. So I love that quote. So I started it all off with that. And we're going to be diving into going against this tradition, this norm, this structure that we may not even realize we are following. So I'll start with this fun analogy. I say becoming a parent is like getting into a very small boat on the ocean and heading for uncharted waters. You hold your brand new baby. I still have this memory of leaving the hospital in a wheelchair. They make you leave in a wheelchair. You're holding your baby. And you're so excited for the journey. At least for me, I knew I was where I wanted to be. I'd been looking forward to this for my whole life, being a parent. And I wanted to try my hardest to do everything right. But sooner or later, we're all going to get stuck. We're not going to be sure how to deal with the kids not listening to us. The yelling matches the siblings start to have, the messy house, the meltdowns, and then the teen attitudes, although they start as the terrible threes, right? The attitudes that those toddlers will give us are crazy. And then we start feeling out of control. And it can feel like these parenting storms capsize us. The real parenting at this point has begun. And at first, I want you to think of this book like your life preserver, keeping you from drowning in the storms that are going to keep hitting you. Because if you keep practicing connect method parenting, you're going to become unsinkable. Sure, you're not going to know what storms are going to hit you. You might not have all the tools at hand. You might not be prepared in all the ways, but you'll become unsinkable. You'll become resilient. No more just surviving the storms. Every time the child or children act out and you draw on the connect method parenting framework, you're going to get more confident in your ability to stay calm and connected no matter what. So success becomes inevitable if you consistently practice the principles and foundation that I'm going to talk about in this book that comprise what I call connect method parenting. Now, before we go any further, I want you to take a second. I don't want you to answer these questions. I want you to think about what you really want. How do you want to feel about your children when they're misbehaving? Yes, let's think about them at their worst. How do you want to feel? How do you want to what emotions do you want to be inhabiting your body? What kind of composure do you want to have? Number 2, how do you want to respond when your child has off-track behavior? So first, it's how you want to feel when they're having this off-track behavior. Now, how do you want to respond? I always say I want to respond in a way I can respect. Not passive, not authoritative, in a way that I respect. I call it compassionate alpha. I got that term from Dr. Neufeld. I love the term because it marries the firmness, the sturdiness with the kindness and the compassion. So answer it for yourself. How do you want to respond when your child has off-track behavior? What's going to actually serve them? Sometimes it's going to be holding a limit. Sometimes setting a limit, giving a direction, letting them cry, letting them be disappointed. Sometimes it might be changing your mind, taking them out of a situation that's not helpful. So how do you want to respond when your child has off-track behavior? Number 3, why do you want to feel and respond like that? I think this is such an important question for us to ask ourselves and then answer ourselves. Do the self-reflection, because how we want to feel and how we want to respond, like getting to the why behind it, is really important. Like, why? Why do I want to feel this way? Why do I want to feel confident and compassionate? Why do I want to respond in a connected way that serves my child, that if needed sets a firm limit, or if I feel like what's needed is to maybe release the limit depending on the circumstance? Why do I want that? And for me, I'll answer myself. I want that because I want to create an environment where my kids feel safe and where I am proud of how I'm behaving in any situation. So I want to respond in the most mature way possible, in a way that will serve them, not out of frustration, not out of fear, because I know that's what feels good to them. That's what feels good to me, and what's ultimately going to help them become the most emotionally mature person in the rooms that they occupy and help them fulfill their potential. So that's why. And I want them to call me when they're in high school, or not high school, because they're going to still be living with you, when they're in college, when they're married. I have my first one getting married. He's almost 26. I'm so thrilled for him. He found the most amazing girl. And I hope that the relationship that we have will create a bond that even when he moves away and has his own family, that we still are connected. I believe that will be the case, but I haven't crossed that bridge quite yet. But it's been the case so far as my kids have gone off to college or traveled, been away. They still reach out. They still want opinions. They still want to come home and hang out with us for the summer. It's so amazing. So that's why I want it. I want to have a relationship with them. I want to feel also like I did a good job at being a parent. Number 4, why do you want your children to think oh, sorry, I said this wrong. What do you want your children to think and feel about you? Now, I answered some of that in the last rambling I just did with my answer to number 3, but I want you to think about it for yourself. What do you want your children to think and feel about you? We need to get clear on this and look for where our reactions to how they're acting is not going to get us to where we want to go. Because if the finish line is I want them to think that I am someone they can trust, that they can talk to me about anything, I want them to feel safe with me, then am I behaving in a way right now when things aren't great that will lead me to that finish line? And if not, that's okay. I want to just know about it. And if it's yes, then I know I'm on the right path. So what do you want your children to think and feel about you? Okay, so you have those answered. That's great. If not, pause, get those answered. Because as we work through the book together some more, I want you to have those be your North Star. Okay? So if not, stop, take a few minutes, jot down your answers. Don't have any paper. No worries. Write it on your hand. Write it on a napkin. Type it in your phone. Put it somewhere, not just in your head. Now, the next thing after you've completed that exercise that I want to go into is, what do your children want, really? And if it's hard for you to go there, think about what you want, really. In the book, I go on to say they don't want a reward or a sticker chart. They sure as heck don't want a punishment or a timeout or a lecture. Your children want someone who believes in them, a teammate who's on the same page as them. They want someone who listens, trusts, and tries to understand them. Isn't that what we all want? I want a friend who listens, trusts, and tries to understand me. I want a partner who believes in me, who's on the same page as me. I don't want my partner walking in the room. I'm deviating from the book at this moment. So if you're following along and you're trying to figure out where I am, I'm not in the book right now. But I've often thought, if I said to my husband, hey, I'm going to clean the house today, and I get busy and I do something else and I don't clean the house, it's so not motivating if he would come home and say, what? You didn't clean the house? I'm taking away your car privileges. No, he would never do that. He's not that kind of person. But when I imagine what would be the most heartwarming, motivating, connecting response he could have if he walked in and the house was just destroyed, even though I had told him my plans were to clean it that day, would be for him to have the energy of believing I was doing my best, listening, trusting, trying to understand my point of view, helping me. Maybe I'm overwhelmed. Maybe I'm sad or grieving about something else. Maybe I got something else done, paid all the bills or whatever, but didn't clean the house. Like him coming alongside me, that would feel helpful. And that's what our kids want too. That's what would motivate them too. That's when they're going to say, you know what? Yeah, I didn't get the thing done that we talked about, but I want to now, out of either respect for us or as a genuine desire, because we didn't act in a way that got them so upset and defended against us that now they can't even clean their room because they can't do anything we ask at this moment, even if they want their room clean. It's driving them crazy. So I find it super helpful when I'm trying to understand how this whole throw away the consequences or the punitive consequences. I am going to talk about limits. I'm not saying throw away all the boundaries and limits. That's actually not helpful at all. But when I'm sometimes pushing up against maybe some of the default beliefs you have, and you're trying to understand how would you have any semblance of order and structure, not leaning into using a consequence or a reward to motivate behavior, I want to tell you, you're going to have more structure. You're going to have more order. You're going to have more cooperation. Now, I'm not saying perfect, because your kids aren't perfect. You're not perfect, but it's going to be more likely that you're going to have that, not less, when you lean into building a strong connection, igniting those attachment instincts, strengthening the relationship, coming alongside their experience, trying to see things from their point of view. It's going to work better, not worse. You're going to have more of what you want, not less of what you want. And if you're having a hard time getting there, letting go of that, which I know is so hard, and I completely get it, put yourself in their place and ask yourself, what would feel better to me? What would be more likely to ignite my motivation, my caring, my remorse, or whatever it is that would get them to the place that you're hoping to get them to? What would do that for you? Because our children, jumping back into the book now, your children want to be understood. They want to feel your unconditional love when they really mess up. Okay, pausing again here. I can't emphasize this enough. Our kids want to feel and need to feel our unconditional love when they mess up more than any other time. It's easy to have unconditional love for kids who are listening and obeying and walking in lockstep to everything we do. It's so hard when they aren't. That's what's really going to bump up against your nervous system. It's going to allow you to practice not going into fight or flight so that you can love them even when they've really messed up. Again, put yourself in the same position. Let's say you've made a poor decision. You've messed up. What do you want in that moment? What would bond you to someone so tightly in a moment when you know it's maybe your fault? Yeah, I had poor judgment. I made a bad decision. Someone who loves you and can come alongside when you've messed up. Man, there's deep relationships that are going to be formed in those moments. And I like to think of it as the return on the investment when we can have the unconditional love for our kids and not go into judgment and not go into resistance when they mess up. The returns double, triple, quadruple the effort and energy and presence we put into those moments to the moments that everything's going fine. So it can really jumpstart us into something really beautiful and deep in a way that perfect, good, nice, lovely situations don't yield the same dividend or the same fruit, however you want to say it. Okay, back into the book. They don't just want a high five when they do something great. They want your acceptance when they do something wrong. They want your respect. They want someone who gets them. What they want is you. They dream of you being their biggest cheerleader and most trusted confidant. Gosh, don't we all want that? A cheerleader and trusted confidant. After all, isn't that what we all want? Someone who will always see the best in us, even perhaps especially when we can't see it for ourselves. To me, this idea, this concept of showing up for our kids in this way where they can take the care and the love and the relationship that we have for granted. And when I say that, I am not saying they take you for granted. I'm saying they can take the relationship for granted, meaning they can depend on it and count on it, just like they can the rising sun, the gravity that holds them to the planet, the seasons, that they can just know it's going to be there and not have to think about it, not have to work to make it happen. So can their relationship be can the relationship with you be something that they trust in just as much as they trust that the sun will rise every day? And rest in it. We're not anxious about the sunrise. We're not anxiously wondering, is it going to come up? I hope it comes up. If it doesn't come up, it's going to be really bad. We just know it comes up every single day. We're not worried because it just happens. It's not if, it's when. And that's how sturdy and consistent I want you to be thinking about the relationship you're creating with your child. And what I want to offer, and we're going to get into this more, but just in case your brain's a little nervous still, what I want to offer is that this type of relationship allows you to create the structure, the rules, the boundary, to hold and set those limits in such a powerful way, in a way that you really can't, because you don't have the leverage, you don't have the influence when the relationship's not super duper strong, because the relationship is the fuel behind your ability to parent. It is the everything. So this isn't about them taking advantage of you. Again, this is about them trusting the relationship is there regardless of what they do. And if you have questions, you're thinking, how do I do this? What do you exactly mean? Come join me in one of my workshops that I do fairly regularly, or at least I'm doing fairly regularly right now, or come into Pivot. It's a 2-month boot camp where I lay out all of the components in a way that I can't do on a podcast episode. I wish I could, and help you really understand how to show up this way. How do we become the gardener that creates this environment where the seeds flourish? It takes some work inside of our brains, some unpacking of this behavior modification framework that we've all just been inundated with, and some awareness of what's developmentally appropriate. What is attachment theory, and how is that the sturdy, firm, compassionate, alpha kind of parenting that leads us to have so much empathy and so much love and kindness for our kids, but also be consistent and confident. So come join me if you are wanting to learn more about this, because in Pivot, what I do, and to a smaller degree in the workshops, I just don't have as much time in the workshops, but I try to teach and then we implement. It's super heavy implementation. That's why I call it the boot camp. We learn the framework and then we do, become. And we have live calls so that we talk about the situations that your brain is going to argue that this whole Connect Method parenting framework doesn't work in this situation. So come, if you have questions, put a link in the show notes where you can find out more about Pivot if you're interested. If not, keep showing up here, because I'm going to be unpacking the book page by page. At this rate, it's going to be a lot of episodes. I'm not sure how long this is going to go, but I'm really excited to talk fluidly about these really, really important principles in a way where I'm adding current thoughts, awarenesses, stories, updates, tangents, all of the things to the book. So I'm going to leave it at that today. We got through the introduction to part 1, and next episode where I'm dropping a book club episode, which I'm not sure, still maybe every episode is going to be this for a while. I'm not really sure. But whenever the next Connect Method Parenting book club episode comes out, it will be chapter 1, Parenting is Not Correcting. And we're going to talk about focusing on your child's heart instead of their obedience. And it's a good one. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great day. Go connect with your kids. Go give them a great big hug. Give them more connection than they could ever dream, ever even want from you, or dream that they need. I know that came out weird, but you get my gist, right? Go connect your face off with your kids. And I can't wait to talk to you again about Connect Method Parenting on the next episode. And if you're working with me inside of Pivot or inside of CMP Mastery, I will talk to you all soon too. Sending you so much love and confidence to go create exactly what you want with your kids. We'll talk to you all soon. Bye, guys. Thanks so much for listening, you all. If you are ready to learn more about Connect Method Parenting, if you've been listening to the podcast and you think, ooh, I'd love to be able to implement this in my life and with my parenting more, then check out Pivot. It's my 8-week program where we deep dive into learning and implementing Connect Method Parenting so that you can take this information and transform your parenting journey. Head over to connectmethodparenting.com to find out when the next group starts.